Hi everyone, this is Christina Divino Manuel. For today's video, I will be sharing to you my answers of the 4 questions that was given to us by Dr. Arnulfo Ramos. He asked us to answer these questions, so hear me out. Okay, so his first question was, how do you encourage your students to do research? As an educator myself, I really believe on the importance of being a steward of your own learning. So to make my students feel that they're in charge with their own learning is that I let them appreciate the importance of doing research by showing them previous remarkable studies that produces results and have provide benefits to a particular group, organization, or even a community because of their studies. I also let them identify the pressing issues that they have and that have affected them as well, one way or another, and let them know that doing research can actually help them understand the root causes of the problems, and it can also provide possible recommendations or even solutions. So that's my answer for question number 1. So here's my answer for question number 2. Can you describe your classroom management if ever in teaching research? So I do believe that it is important to set or to have a structure in teaching, and especially in doing research. So I would admit that I am not the assigned research subject teacher in our school, but I was a panel many times during the oral defense. I asked my colleagues about the structure they have set or form, to make their teaching organized and in order. They said because we are in a public school, although they want to have an individual research because you can really tell if that is their personal output, and you can really know that um, um, if they have learned individually, because that is their personal paper. But because we are in a public school, it's actually difficult to have an individual research. So what they did is that they group the students, they form groups among the students, and it is also difficult from both sides, both teacher and student, because number one, there's expenses in conducting a research, and it would be more affordable if if the students are in groups. On the teacher side, it is overwhelming to check students outputs if it is done individually, especially if you have a lot of students and a lot of classes on research. Usually they group their students into five members, which is, they said, it's a good number to have. And and it is wonderful that they're in groups because they are just starting to learn how to do research. So they have one another to help their paper. um, Also, uh, they said that it is important to provide timeline so that the students are conscious, and that they understand the deadlines they have to meet in the research. And also, because of following a schedule or a timeline, teachers in research will have more time to thoroughly check and make corrections on their paper. So at the end, we will have a quality paper if students follow the set schedules as well. In teaching research, of course, you really have to explain what is research, the types of research, and the methods, and all other parts of research, so that after you taught them or educate them about it, they will you let them do what they have learned from your discussion. So number 3, can you describe the best research lesson if ever you have delivered so far? So just like what I've said earlier, I don't have a lot of experiences in teaching research, but I have done my research when I was in undergrad. And I remember, as a um, panel for many times in our school, um, the group that won the best paper and best presenter, from all other groups, is usually a group that showed that they understood their paper and have defended their paper brilliantly. Each of the members is concerned and knows every detail of the paper, and it's not rehearsed. All of them answered correctly our questions, and their paper is free from plagiarism, and they observe proper format set by the research teacher. So, for the fourth question, what problems you mostly encountered in teaching research and how you dealt with it? Give an example. So, usually my colleague said that working in a team is hard for most of the students, aside from dealing of doing the paper. Doing it in groups and behavioral conflicts arises, especially if they are time pressured. Some of the members of the groups are passive or even dependent with other members, and that causes problem as well. So their advice is, what they did is that prior to the conduct of the study, they form group dynamics activities so that the teacher will know um, who should be part on that specific group, so that it will have balance. So for example, those who are more advanced in research, or those who have prior knowledge in research, must be partnered with members that does not have any idea about research, so that there will be a balance as well, so everyone can successfully submit their paper. Also, research teacher must know if there are prior conflicts, because that can actually break a group if there are unresolved issues within the group. So usually that's a problem in doing research, doing research in your research class. Another problem or concerns in doing research is that financial constraints. So um, if uh, usually the research teachers, they said to me that if the chosen topic or title of the students is very broad, they really have to digest, I mean, to focus it on a little spectrum, because if they are pursuing bigger scope, that means bigger expenses as well. So some of the students are very poor and cannot contribute with the incurring expenses. So as a research teacher, usually prior to the conduct of the research, they gather all the parents through a PTA meeting, and then they inform the parents about the process of the research and how can the parents assist the students, especially on on financing a research, like the expenses during research, so that they can prepare, can save and prepare if ever there's a need to 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 spend money for in doing the research. Another concern that they usually say is that about the ethical concerns, part of doing research, because you really have to ask permission from your participants if they are willing to be part of your paper, and you should let them sign the document about your approval. Sometimes these are difficult, especially if the groups or the participants you have is very busy, or very like it's a sensitive topic, like interviewing abused children or abused women. Sometimes it's quite difficult to ask permission if you are looking forward to have them as your participants. So if you don't want to have problems, so you have to observe proper ethics in doing research as well, so that you will not have problems in the future. So that would be all. Thank you, and I hope you have learned something from my answers. God bless.